Alaska, safety is our #1 priority, and all of our pilots are highly trained professionals, so all you wannabe bush pilots out there, do not try this at home.
Northern Alaska. It's home to the most isolated citizens in America. The only way in, and the only way out, is by bush plane. Where the roads end, the Tweedo's world begins. On this episode,
I still get the willies every time I go into that Anaktuvik Pass.
Era Alaska's Sherpa pilots try to deliver a specialty drill to a mountainous area through a sea of fog.
Just got to make sure you have your seatbelts on and hold on.
Pilot Luke Kickerson brings the first ever ATM to Wainwright, Alaska, along with a plane load of cash.
There's one brick.
Pilot Eric Snuggerud races to deliver passengers and critical supplies before a major spring storm shuts him down.
There really is no margin for error to get paid to take people home.
Day in and day out, brave pilots of Era Alaska battle extreme weather in small planes, providing the only lifeline to America's last frontier.
Era 292, 2 hours fuel. I got 3 souls on board.
And good morning, Unit. According to the calendar and a groundhog down in the lower 48, spring has officially sprung. We just passed the vernal equinox and the days are becoming longer than the nights, but we have still a lot more winter to come. And here is native artist P&L.
As winter weather transforms into spring, Era Alaska COO Jim Tweedo calls the Fairbanks hub to set up a cargo flight to the remote village of Anaktuvik Pass.
Good afternoon, Air Alaska. Down to help you.
Hey, Don, Jim Tweedo. The guy called and he's wondering if we can get a drill rig up to Anaktuvik today. It's about 8 feet long, weighs about 3,000 pounds. Looks like it's definitely a Sherpa load.
The C-23 Sherpa is Era Alaska's heavy lifting airplane. Much like a giant bumblebee, the Sherpa seems like it's hardly built to fly. Looks are deceiving, though, as its bloated body and distinct rear-loading door allow it to carry cargo too large to fit in other aircraft. These attributes, combined with the plane's short takeoff and landing capability, make the Sherpa ideal for rural Alaska.
The weather up at Anaktuvik has been kind of up and down, but at this point in time, looks like a go.
All righty, Don, thank you.
Multiple spring storms are currently brewing across Alaska and threatening air travel. Air Alaska's pilots will have to be at their best to deal with the demanding conditions. Over in Fairbanks, pilot Paul Carlson checks out the Sherpa, one of only 24 in commercial operation, as he prepares to fly it up through the Brooks Mountain Range.
I've been flying commercially for 12 years. Being a cargo airplane, I mean, it's a big old flying pickup truck. And when you're flying cargo, things get beat up. Every time before we fly, we've got to just check the whole thing out, make sure nothing's loose. I think that's kind of a built-in ladder. I got to jump up. Once we take off, it's too late to, reattach panels and repair dents.
While Paul inspects the plane, inside, pilot Russell Smale checks the weather in Anaktuvik Pass.
Looks like it's been some blowing snow or something sticking to the camera in that direction, but I think it's doable.
The weather was good enough to get in, so it's kind of been going up and down, so hopefully when we get out there, it'll be good.
The Sherpa is the only plane in northern Alaska that can carry this large remote-controlled drill. Needed to bore 15 feet deep holes into the tundra so that a new road can be built to the isolated village.
Kill it. This airplane has a huge floor, so if we've got a load that can move on us, it has a tendency to want to, so we've got to be extremely careful about strapping things down.
If the heavy load shifts, it can move the plane's center of gravity behind the wings, making controlled level flight impossible.
If everything shifts back, it's just going to pitch up. You could push those yokes as far forward as you want. It's not going to save your life.
Before the bad weather hits Unifleet during the first days of spring, Ariel and Ponce go play outside in the sunshine.
Me and Ponce and our friend JR took our snow machine up the river to do a little ice fishing because it was a nice day out, so why not enjoy the spring sun? Sweet!
Looks like
Made
good
it.
spot, huh?
Should we get that auger out?
Yep.
The ice up there is probably a good 3-4 feet thick, and so we brought an auger with us. It would have just taken us forever if we used adult those ice picks.
Oh, this can. Oh. Yeah.
Holy man.
I bet you we'll catch some fish in this one.
Sometimes you get grayling, sometimes whitefish, but usually the keepers at this time of year are trout. Oh, it's nice to get away from work for a while.
Oh! No way! How does that work?
So we ended up drilling this huge hole, and all we caught was a little baby. And then something happened.
It's pretty good size.
Yeah.
Bite size.
I dare someone to eat its head. I'll give you $20.
$20?
$20 is $20.
Thank you. Oh, you gotta swallow! Oh, look at it! He ate it! Sushi! Alaska sushi! He swallowed it. He ate the whole head. So it was sort of gross. Yeah. Catch of the day, minus the head, thanks to Ponce.
215 miles south, the town of Bethel is still warming up to spring. It is Era Alaska's busiest hub, serving 50 villages in the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta.
They're actually forecasting for the snow to get down 2 miles of visibility, so that should be some pretty heavy snow. The weather can be very dynamic. It's conducive to fog formation and also strong winds. There's a lot of times where we're rushing to get a job done and get out there and get to the villages as quickly as we can because we know these storms are coming. And then when it hits, we know everything just shuts down.
Bethel's subarctic climate with long cold winters and short mild summers makes springtime almost imperceptible. A ferocious spring storm is gathering strength out on the Bering Sea. Bethel's pilots are eager to get their flights moving before it hits.
Quig, passengers for Quig, please.
My name's Phil Ekdahl, and I fly out of Bethel, Alaska.
Phil is taking a group of passengers back home to the remote village of Kwigillingok after their supply run to Bethel.
Watch your step, guys.
Since there is no proper grocery store in the tiny community, these residents must stock up before the coming storm.
We're gonna go right over there, that little 207.
The Cessna 207 is a small tri-gear airplane and the light workhorse of the Air Alaska fleet. Its high wings and double cargo doors allow for easy loading and unloading, while its large cabin can quickly be reconfigured to carry up to 6 passengers or 1,100 pounds of cargo, earning it the nickname the Alaskan pickup truck.
Safety is our number one priority. The most important thing in the morning is the weather.
Yeah, it's about 9 degrees.
The weather changes here on an hourly basis. It's really important that we know runway conditions. You can never know enough.
Clear for takeoff. How you going this anyway? Yeah, it's gonna be quick. Can we do?
We get a lot of lows that come up off the Bering Sea. The lows tend to create a lot of wind, and wind can really shut us down.
Like right now, we have a really large low, very, very large low coming up. It's probably going to hit this afternoon. It's looking nasty. It's a warm front coming up, and it's going to make things wet and windy and not real safe to fly in.
It's really important that we know runway conditions. We don't have asphalt runways. We have dirt runways. We fly out here year-round, so in the wintertime, they're icy.
Quig's it's literally out in the middle of nowhere in the tundra. Quig runway is one of the last runways that's unimproved, so that's kind of the challenging part. And it's not really smooth. It's not flat. It's got some pretty good bumps in it.
An unimproved runway is not paved or graded, making landings far more precarious. Even in good weather, the extremely narrow Kwigillingok airstrip leaves no room for error. In the winter, this danger is compounded as the runway's loose gravel turns to ice.
When we get new pilots, we don't let them come down here until we're comfortable with them landing on these types of runways. The wind will be coming over the town. We'll hit those houses and create quite a bit of turbulence.
You get that sun on top of the ice, and it's just enough to kind of butter it up. And then you put wind on top of that, it just makes an ice rink out of it. Quig is probably one of the worst runways. It's like an old dirt road.
Loose gravel and ice on the runway could cause the loss of directional control at the critical landing phase.
You could see flying downwind, it was a little glassy, so a little icy. That's what you got to be careful about, because if it's shiny, it's slick.
High winds make it even more difficult to maintain control of the plane. Come in straight when touching down.
A lot of turbulence.
On the coast of the Bering Sea, high winds are tearing across Kwigillingok's unimproved airstrip.
Yeah, it's a lot windier.
As pilot Phil Ekdahl attempts to land with a plane full of passengers on their way home.
A lot of turbulence. was right down the runway, so it wasn't too bad at all, actually. All right, guys, welcome home. We're out here in Twig. It's pretty cold. I don't know exactly the temperature, but it's cold. What you got in there, man? A watermelon? All right. Some of the people I'm flying with, they've grown up in these airplanes. I mean, it's how they get around. Our number one priority is to make a safe flight for them. You know, because they're putting all that trust in you. So we take pride in that. I mean, we really do.
Over in Fairbanks, pilots Paul Carlson and Russell Smale are ready to fly through the dangerous Brooks Range to Anaktuvik Pass with visibility nearing the minimum. They are bringing a specialty drill used to cut 15 feet deep holes in the rock-hard permafrost so that the isolated village can build a new road connecting them to the outside world.
Ignition's on. Mike, Sherpa actually had a frontier up to Anaktuvik Pass.
I still get the willies every time I go into that Anaktuvik Pass. It's kind of a unique airport here in Alaska in that it's surrounded on all sides by huge mountains.
With a population of 250 people, the village of Anaktuvik Pass is remote in the extreme. It is located in an area known as the Gates of the Arctic and often experiences intense winds and winter temperatures of 50 below zero. Originally settled in 1949 by nomadic Alaska natives to hunt caribou, today more than 20% of households don't even have running water.
Winds look good. I just checked the weather in Anaktuvik Pass. 2 miles scattered, 32 broken 5. We can't really come in from the north because of the wind.
No matter which way you go in there, you know, the wind doesn't really have any place to go except for right through the area. So just got to make sure you have your seatbelts on and hold on.
Now we're approaching the minimums here.
As the pilots descend into the treacherous Anaktuvik Pass, visibility drops to the FAA legal minimum of 1 mile. High winds cause fog to move in fast. Visibility drops below the 1 mile limit before the Sherpa arrives. It will be too dangerous to attempt a landing. Pilots will be forced to turn back.
Don't see the ground anymore.
The sky's still clear in Unicleat. Ariel brushes up on her flying skills in a 207 after being out of practice for the last few months.
So in order to get my private license, I need to have 40 hours, and I have 31 hours left. This is my first time flying in a long time just because the weather's been really bad, so I need to brush up on my skills, and hopefully it will go well. That'd suck if it didn't.
Calling traffic 296, departing runway 1, quick.
It's pretty natural for a new student when they get in the plane to just become overwhelmed.
Remember what I said about the pitch?
Oh, sorry, that was way too fast.
Install it.
I want to make sure that she's proficient. She can handle the airplane. You know, I have to know that she's going to be safe enough not to kill herself.
Okay, so then I push it in and then pull up.
Yep, trim the wheel.
Get refreshed on it, pretty much everything. I was a bit nervous and a little scared, but Hans told me it's just like riding a bike, and I trust him with my life. How's that?
Perfect, couldn't be any better.
Amazingly, like, I took off perfect, so I was super excited from that moment on.
You want to do a cool flight? We'll go up to Swarovski and then come down South River.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to let her take the airplane and just do some turns, fly wherever she wanted, follow trail, follow river, and just feel the airplane again.
It's kind of a fun little valley to go through. You're going to make a left turn and then you're going to make a hard right. It's really cool. So get down in there.
Oh, God, this is freaky.
That's good, right there. It's a beautiful turn, Ariel.
That's where we live.
I know. It's amazing. You comfortable?
Yep, I'm not white-knuckling it as much as I usually am.
You know, she was a little bit nervous getting back into it, but once she got the controls in her hands, I could tell that it was just like time hadn't passed. You know, she did great.
This is a perfect way to end it. You're going into land.
You're gonna have to help me, though. I'm sort of nervous.
All right, yeah, I'll help you.
When I was landing, I was a little scared because every time I usually land with Ponce, he's always having to help me.
Don't push. Don't push. Pull. No, you're pushing. Don't do that.
I'll go more. Oh, I'm too flustered right now. I can't even think.
All right, level out. Level, wings level.
Where it got shaky was the final approach.
Don't push. Just pull. Now pull back. Pull the power and the yoke. Both of them at the same time. Uh-oh. Drift it to the left.
In Uniclete, Ariel Tweedo is flying a Cessna 207 with John Ponce. He's helping her attempt her first landing in over 4 months.
Pull back. Pull. Uh-oh. Correct it to the right. Let go.
Oh, we're going up again? Oh,
Did you want to?
Yeah, it does.
All right. You know, Ariel hadn't flown in several months, so she had to kind of figure out all of the fundamentals involved with landing an airplane.
I pull the power back too?
Yeah, the only way you're gonna land is if you don't have power. Don't let the airplane fly you. You fly the airplane. You're the captain of this ship.
Yeah, I am.
Her confidence bolstered, Ariel lines up for another landing attempt.
This is perfect. You're right down the center line. Keep the nose going down. Now pull back. Pull the yoke. This is looking good. You got a good speed. You got a good rate of descent. Everything's lined up real nice.
Yeah! That's how it feels!
Yeah.
Yay! Just landed!
But don't rest into any cones.
Okay. Yay! I landed. It was the best feeling because once you get something right, you get excited for yourself and want to give yourself a pat on the back. I just flew for about an hour, so 30 hours left. And then I'll have my private license.
Ariel has landed safely, but up at Anaktuvik Pass, things aren't going as smoothly. The weather is deteriorating rapidly, while Air Alaska's Sherpa pilots struggle to make out the runway as they attempt to deliver a specialty drill to the tiny village.
Well, don't get around anymore.
If the pilots can't spot the runway, they'll be forced to turn back, unable to deliver the equipment Anaktuvik needs to build a road.
Yeah, I got inside.
The gap in the fog gives the pilots the chance they need to attempt a landing.
So we're going straight into 2, right?
Yep.
They'll have to move fast to exploit the break in the weather.
Another day in the office. Welcome to Winter Wonderland, huh? Anaktuvik Pass.
The residents here have been eager to receive the drill. When the spring thaw comes, they can finally begin building a new road that will link the town to the outside world.
This drill is important for this town because they drill the test holes to find out if the ground is okay, if we can build on it to improve quality of life.
Their mission complete, the Sherpa pilots head back to Fairbanks. While up in Air Alaska's northernmost hub in Barrow, a special load is being prepared for an 85-mile trip to Wainwright, where village residents have been waiting years for a device that most people take for granted, an ATM. Lead pilot Luke Hickerson is entrusted to safely deliver this crucial piece of equipment, along with $30,000 in cash.
Today we are going to install an ATM in Wainwright, Alaska. It's their first ATM. The ATM is really important to the community and the village.
Cash is so difficult to get that residents on the North Slope of Alaska are accustomed to using an IOU for a $300 plane ticket just to reach a bank.
Yeah, 360, ground radio. Yeah, 360, crossing out.
Since there aren't any bank branches in most of rural Alaska, independent ATM operators serve the vital financial needs of the communities.
The bank never come in and do this because they would lose money on it.
Who loads it up with money?
Unbeknownst to everyone, it's in my bag here. You want to see one?
I want to see a brick.
There's one brick.
I'm gonna announce it on the VHF.
Yeah.
Instead of using bulletproof windows and armed guards to move cash and equipment, Air Alaska's pilots perform the duties using speed and stealth, safeguarding the money on private charter flights using irregular schedules.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll catch you later.
Having delivered the ATM safely, Luke returns to Barrow, while Kavik heads to town to install the machine.
The first thing I'm going to do right now is I just want to test the phone line out.
News travels fast. The villagers are already lining up in anticipation.
Wainwright's been having a cash flow problem in the past, and teaming up with Kavik is definitely going to solve the problem.
Wainwright's first ATM. Seems like we're going to need a, like angels and some music all sound glowing and ta-da!
Cross the fingers that we plugged in and it works.
Just what Wainwright needs.
That's nice.
So to test the connection, I'm going to try my card here. It's basically talking through your phone line.
Is there cash?
There will be, but this is just a test. Let's see what it says.
It's taking a long time. I don't know. It's scaring me.
Slow connection.
Yeah, let's see.
It's not approved.
I'm thinking it's a communication, so I'm gonna have to check that line here. It's connecting out, and when it comes back in, it's not quite doing what it's supposed to do.
If Kavik can't get the ATM working on his own, he'll have to schedule a service technician to fly in from Anchorage, leaving the disappointed villagers stranded without access to cash for several more weeks.
The communication problems we're having, it's still up in the air whether it's going to be going today or not.
The spring storm that is wreaking havoc on the state's communication lines has descended upon Bethel.
These storms come screaming in off the Bering Sea. They come in fast and they come in hard, and we just go and get out there, and there really is no margin for error. We get paid to take people home.
Snugs is hurrying to get a plane load of residents and critical supplies out to coastal villages before the storm shuts them down completely.
Hey, watch your step. A little bit snowy out here.
Yeah, 1 Golf Victor, clear, confirm our clear cross 30. Bethel, 1 Golf Victor's off. We got 3 hours, 45 minutes of fuel. Tuxuk, McCoy.
Yeah, Tuxuk's gone half a mile, freezing fog now, so might go McCormick first.
Okay. Well, we may not beat that weather after all.
Low visibility forces Snugs to delay his scheduled stop in Tuxuk Bay and head first to McCormick.
Okay, for Tuxuk, the weather there is a little bit lower than what we need to shoot the approach, so we're going to continue on to McCoy. The winds are cooking pretty good through there, blowing 37 knots.
37 knot, 43-mile-per-hour crosswinds are near the limit of where a pilot can safely land and can easily push a plane off course as it approaches the airstrip.
You know, it's a continuous battle between the pilot and the wind to, get the aircraft going straight down the runway. It's kind of close.
After diverting from Tuxuk Bay in mid-flight because of rapidly deteriorating weather, lead pilot Eric Snuggerud is attempting to land in the village of McCormick amidst heavy crosswinds.
McCormick traffic here, 1 Golf Victor's left base, turning final. It is windy, probably about 43 miles an hour.
Although it's up to each pilot's discretion whether or not to attempt a landing, there are certain limits. The standard cutoff for many planes is 40-mile-per-hour winds. However, Snugs is willing to take the risk to get food and medical supplies to this remote village.
Okay, we'll do quick.
How's Tuxuk weather?
It's kind of windy over there.
Tuxuk resident Catherine Moses is concerned she may not make it home before the spring storm shuts down all air travel. Snugs must unload fast if he has any chance to head out to Tuxuk Bay and beat the weather. Up in Wainwright, the statewide storm is causing phone service outages, threatening ATM owner Kavik's plan to get the town's very first cash machine up and running for the residents, who are already lining up.
On the receipt itself, it says transaction is not approved, error code D1706.
Without tech support on the North Slope, Kavik does his best to solve the problem.
It's basically just trial and error, seeing which phone line will work.
Oh, wow, you guys got an ATM machine in here now, huh?
Yeah.
I was just going to see if you guys had some cash here.
There you go, Carl.
You like that?
Yeah.
You try it out?
Yeah.
You can cover it. Cross your fingers. So here we go. This could be it.
All right, $60. That's what I need. All right, thanks.
Thanks,
Coming in and solving this problem we've had for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you.
While Kavik managed to overcome the obstacles caused by the spring storm, in Unigleet the weather has halted air traffic, meaning that the Tweedo ladies have some downtime.
Can I sit next to you? So you sit next to her? Yes, we had a few minutes of downtime, and my mom always has to be doing something, so she had a good idea to leg wrestle. So you go 1, 2, 3, and on 3 you connect. Leg wrestling is a native youth Olympic sport. It's when 2 people lay side by side each other, and you connect legs and try to flip the other person over. 2, 3. My mom won. My mom beat Ben, like, with her eyes closed.
You don't know how light I am.
before bed. And then I wrestled my mom. 1, 2, 3. Holy cow, Earl, you got strong legs. Champion. No. But then my dad walked in the door. Hey, guess who won leg wrestling? Me or mom?
Mom probably whooped your...
Dominated her. I bet she could flip you.
Really? Oh, try it? Come on, let's do it.
Okay.
Ariel thought she was champ, so I had to get down there and put her back straight.
Wow, what if I break your hip?
What if I flip you over on your ear?
Okay, ready? 1, no farting. 2, 3.
Come on. 220 versus 110.
I thought I would do a little better than I did against my dad, but he's a big guy, so no shame. I'll get you next time.
Reality check for Ariel.
Outside Bethel, in Macoriac, Snugs is still struggling to get his passengers home to Tuxuk Bay.
So now that we're lighter, you can feel the influence of that wind on us. Kind of trying to want to spin us out. There was a couple areas of ice on the ramp there in the taxiway. And so when we started taxiing, the aircraft was trying to weather vane.
Weather vaning is a phenomenon experienced by aircraft on the ground. A strong crosswind can push a plane's nose into the wind, float off course as it takes off.
If it's slippery in any way, you could have a problem controlling the aircraft on the ground. If you get in the excess of 40 knots, then you really run a risk of the wind getting up underneath the tail and upending the airplane and putting it up on its nose.
Although Snugs has managed a clean takeoff, his biggest challenge is yet to come. Tuxuk Bay's mountainous terrain means he must be on high alert.
That's called a lenticular cloud. And that's a real easy way to tell if there's really strong winds going over the top of the hill.
Lenticular clouds are lens-shaped saucer-like clouds that form when mountains deflect strong horizontal wind upwards. Although they appear stationary, lenticular clouds can contain winds with speeds up to 60 miles per hour, and signify the presence of severe updrafts and downdrafts. They serve as a warning sign to pilots and should be avoided at all cost.
You're dealing with 30-plus knot winds coming over those hills. It's like being caught up in a waterfall.
Due to the mountainous terrain, Tuxuk Bay has a history of severe downdrafts that Snugs has experienced firsthand.
Well, I had a pretty close call out at Tuxuk last year. I got caught up in some pretty significant downdrafts. Took me down to within about 100 feet of the surface, and we almost hit the ground. That was the closest call I think I've ever had in aviation. I mean, I really thought we were going to hit. Okay, folks, we're starting down for Tuxuk. Still pretty windy, so make sure you get those seatbelts on good and tight. Hold on.
Out at Tuxuk Bay, lead pilot Eric Snuggerud is wrestling his plane to the ground as he tries to get his passengers safely home before the storm shut them out completely.
Okay, welcome to Tuxuk.
Tuxuk resident Catherine Moses is relieved to have made it to the ground safely.
Sorry about the bumpy landing there.
They say Chicago is the windiest city.
Tuxuk's the windy village. In order to do this job safely, you really have to pay attention. You know, I really like the challenges that are presented to me here in Alaska. It requires me to be at my best.
As Snugs weathers the storm in Tuxuk Bay, back in Unigleet, pilot John Ponce uses his handiwork skills to make a gift for a very important person in his life.
What I've got is a bunch of furs that I've collected over the last year from hunting, and what I wanted to do with these furs is make a hat for my father, because he's real sick right now. A couple years ago, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He's always cold, and so I figured, you know, that's what we wear up here to keep ourselves warm. The deer fur is designed to shed rain and snow. My dad started hunting with me when I was about 8 years old. I'm pretty sure, you know, he planted the seed to keep me outdoors and enjoying what the earth has to offer. Him bringing me out into the wilderness, I think that has a huge part in why I'm up here in Alaska and why I love it up here so much. I actually learned how to do this type of work from Furno's mom last winter when I made some mitts. First, we're just gonna put the front and the earpiece together, and for him to get something from Alaska, from me being here, you know, I figure if I make it for him, it's more meaningful. He's always instilled in me that whenever you take an animal, you need to use all of it. You know, that stuck with me. We still have to put the inner shell, you know, the beaver on the inside, and put a liner on the top, but it's enough work for today.
The next day in Bethel, Snugs takes advantage of a break in the weather to try to reunite a family that has been delayed from attending the funeral of a cherished elder.
This is a charter flight this morning we got going down to Kipnuk, and we're taking a family and their grandfather who recently passed away at the ripe old age of 117. His name was David Martin, and we're taking him home so that he could be buried in Kipnuk.
He has 7 children, 35 grandchildren, 58 great-grandkids, and 2 great-great-grandkids.
The elders out here are one of the most important parts of the community because they're the historians of the livestock for the villages.
Other elders respected him because he be the one that knew what it was like before white people came to Alaska.
He's always told our parents to tell us to talk to our children in our native language. They're very fluent in Yupik.
Okay, real careful right here. Slippery.
When I think of my grandfather, I always think he'll have a lot of stories to say about the long time ago past and singing old songs.
All right, right this way. As a pilot in Alaska, for the only real means of transportation to and from the villages, we're pretty much the only way that they can get somebody to their resting place. Good morning, Air 8 Sierra Delta is North Ramp. Got information from Romeo. Be southwest bound. Charter was actually scheduled for yesterday's flight, and they weren't able to make it down there due to the fact that storm came through. It ended up closing down the runway. Hopefully the weather will hold up. If it doesn't, well, we'll have to head back to Bethel. It'd be unfortunate if they had to wait longer, but safety first. It's a precious cargo back there. Yeah, let's get an update here. Looks like we might be some whiteout conditions. Well, I guess that kind of answers my question. Whiteout is basically when you don't really have any visual references that you can see outside to determine what the aircraft's doing. You really have no idea which way is up, which way is down. There's just nothing. There's nothing really for your eyes to see. No horizon. Here comes the snow. While we were en route, the weather deteriorated down to a mile of visibility. I was concerned that maybe it might go lower. We're still 10 miles from the airport. So once we get a little closer in there, we should be able to make out the airport runway. I hope.
In Unifleet, John Pond shows off the fur hat he has finished making for his father.
Wow, that turned out beautiful.
Check it out, man.
Yeah, that's
We
nice.
finished it.
Beautiful.
Try it on.
Oh.
I gotta get a picture of this, man. That's too cool.
Got it? That is cool, Pons. Man, your dad's gonna be a happy camper, huh?
I need to go down to California and help take care of my dad.
Say hi to your pa.
I will. My dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and doctors didn't give him a whole lot of time to live. And the time's come, and they've done everything that they can do for him. There's just no more treatments. A lot of my family thought he was waiting for me to get home.
John Pons flies down to San Diego with fur hat in hand to spend the precious last few days with his father. Just outside Kipnuk, Lead pilot Eric Snuggerud is bringing a family and the remains of their 117-year-old grandfather home for the funeral. As the weather deteriorates, Snuggs hopes he can bring this respected elder to his final resting place.
Hey, we're on our way down with a casket for David Martin's family.
Okay, we'll see you, Snuggie.
Kipnik is a coastal village here in the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, and I can imagine what it was like when David was a child growing up here.
David Martin lived to be 117 years old. He was one of the founding fathers of Kipnik.
You know, their primary lifestyle is a subsistence lifestyle. Do a lot of hunting and fishing for food, for clothing. These villages, the lifestyles changed over the last 50, 100 years. And the temperature is still just above freezing, so it's a little bit misty. And that's it. That's your true blue definition of whiteout. Looking out that window right now.
While we were on our way down there, the weather actually started to deteriorate on me, and I at one point didn't know if it was going to remain good enough for us to make it.
Kipnik traffic here. Easter Delta showing 3 miles out to the northeast now. We're planning right traffic for runway 33 Kipnik. Looking a little bit misty. All right, there it is. Kipnik traffic. Easter Delta is based to final land in Kipnik. Okay, welcome to Kipnik. Give me just a minute and I'll have that door for you guys. You're welcome, thank you. You ready?
It's more of a live celebration because the elders out here are one of the most important parts of the community. It was really nice once we got there to Kipnik to see the families reunited.
I'm really happy. I haven't been here since last year, so I'm excited.
Got it. It's a real honor to be able to help bring a family together, and they'll be able to lay their grandpa to rest down there now in his home village, and it gives me a great deal of satisfaction to be a part of that.
In Unalakleet, Ponce returns from his own father's funeral.
I wasn't sure if I was going to make it in time before my dad passed away because I knew he was just getting to that point. And so I was able to make it down to California, and I got in at about 2:30 in the morning. And I walked in, I yelled, "Hey, Dad, I'm here, man. Hey, Dad." And I walked in the room, and he just looked up at me, and his eyes got real big, and I could see that, he could hear my voice and recognize who I was. I brought out the hat, and I went, Dad, look at this hat I made you. Look at this buckskin hat I made you. And he just kind of looked at me, and he cracked a smile, and he just said, at that point for him, I mean, that was all he could give. It was nice just to see that, have him crack that smile and say that. And I don't know, just a few hours later, he passed away. I think about him every day, he left some big shoes to fill.